Coming up on ATV News.
Little legs all over campus. Why you're seeing them now more than the rest of the year.
A childhood disease breakthrough, what it is, and who it will help.
In sports, the Aggies were on the road in Colorado. We'll tell you what they lost besides the game.
It's chilly today and we had our first frost of the season, but is there more frost in the forecast?
All that and more right here on ATV News. Welcome to this week's ATV News. I'm Misty Inglet.
And I'm Chris Hyde. Election season is coming. Are you going to vote? In Cache Valley, it could be easier than ever to cast your ballot. No need looking for a polling station because your vote can be sent through the mail or dropped at a box near you. Either way, you'll be influencing your city and helping your Aggies, which are competing to be the most politically active college in the state. In past years, there has been a low turnout for young voters, but Cache County Clerk Jill Zollinger hopes the easier system will bring in more ballots.
For the most part, we've had a lot of people that really like it. They like the fact that they can have their ballot there at home. They can study it.
It affects every aspect of our lives. It affects tuition. Everything that we do here at school, the roads that we drive on, the air that we breathe, the sidewalks we walk on is all affected by the government. And so it's important for students to have a say and to vote.
Find out more at vote.utah.gov before Election Day on Tuesday.
In the United States, 80 people per day are diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and over half of those diagnosed are kids. Our Becky Eisenhower is live to tell you more about what living with this disease is like and what researchers are doing to help. Becky?
Thanks, Misty. I'm here in Luke's Cafe, where, like many other restaurants, people with type 1 diabetes have to check their blood sugar with kits like this, and they have to give themselves insulin if they want to eat anything. This may seem unusual for most, but it's the norm for people living with the disease.
I have to try and find a spot that's not too bad.
Lynette Erickson is testing her blood sugar, something she has had to do at least 6 times a day since she was 9 years old, when she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
I had no idea the impact it would have on my life and just what it was even.
Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease that attacks the pancreas and stops it from producing insulin.
It sends back more insulin in it.
Jackson Thompson is showing how he puts in his pump site, something he has had to do since being diagnosed with the same disease as Lynette just 7 months ago.
First, it was just adjusting to insulin and adjusting to the shots and all the prep work, because his bag, it's a survival kit.
I take it everywhere.
When you live with type 1 diabetes, you have to check your blood sugar everywhere and in front of everyone.
They see me test my blood and they're like, what's that? So I have to give them the whole spiel.
But Lynette may not have to explain herself for much longer. 2 researchers from the Harvard Stem Cell Institute have found a hormone that might stop the disease.
We now know the gene is a human gene. We've cloned the human gene. And moreover, we know that in human serum or in human plasma, the beta-trophin protein, this hormone, exists.
So what would this hormone mean for Lynette, who has been battling diabetes for 10 years? Or for Jackson and his mom, who are just starting their diabetic journey?
It would be very different to have the chance to be free.
It would mean not worrying, because you worry about the teenage years, you worry about college, you worry, and it would be amazing.
Lynette and Jackson are just 2 young people living with type 1 diabetes. As you saw in the video, this disease can change your life. But if the beta-trophin hormone is successful, this could mean a lot for those people. Back to you, Misty.
Yeah, I'm sure it would. Thanks, Becky. For more information on type 1 diabetes and what you can do to help with the cure, Visit www.jdrf.org.
If you've passed the sunny south sides of the buildings around campus and noticed a rippling swarm of black and red spotted bugs, you're not alone. The swarms are gone, but the box elder bugs are still proving to be quite a nuisance in many doorways and windows around campus. This is because the trees growing on the hillside between Canyon Road and 400 North are a perfect breeding ground for the bugs, who might migrate to campus when the leaves start to change.
And what they look for, just like you and I when the winter's coming, a good place to stay warm. So they try and get into the buildings. Understand, a box elder bug can get into a space that's as thin as a piece of paper.
The graveyard of bugs along the south-facing stretches of campus are thanks to Reader's team of specialists. They've come up with a spray that's safe for you, but deadly for box elder bugs. With the overnight lows rapidly dropping, this year's migration is wrapping up, and any bugs who haven't snuck their way inside will freeze off within the week. We'll be bug-free for the next 6 months, but you can watch for the spring migration. It usually arrives just in time for commencement.
Coming up next, the ultimate Aggie fan is more than meets the eye.
And how one way your furry friend can go into the grocery store with you.
If you store your guns properly,
I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer.
if you store your guns properly,
I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
I won't have to tell so many family members. I'm sorry.
I won't hear as many scary stories.
And I won't have to tell my kids. This isn't a drill.
Please.
Please, do it for us.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always, lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
Oh, look, a redhead.
Staring contest!
You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
They were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Welcome back. Don't have any time to visit the art gallery? Well, Cache Valley Transit District is bringing the art to you. Students at South Cache Middle School in Hiram were chosen to have their artwork displayed in and around some of the buses. ATV's Brandon Fonda caught the bus to show you how the students reacted.
Excited 8th graders posed for a picture. They're stepping onto this district bus to check out the latest artwork published inside. Artwork that they designed and produced.
It's awesome.
But Lauren and Stephanie's group is especially proud.
To go with it.
Their artwork was chosen to be featured on the outside of the bus.
I've seen it driving around town a bunch. Everybody in my family has. So
when you see it around town, it's kind of like, I did that, that's cool.
yeah, I really enjoy seeing it there because it's like, that is cool that I helped with that.
That was so exciting.
This rolling art project is called Art in Transit, a partnership between CVTD and Cache County School District to bring children's art into public places.
Through that process, we get to promote arts education, and hopefully the community will see the importance for arts education and continue to support it.
But for these students, it's more than just art on the side of a bus. They hope that when these doors open, their art inspires change.
I hope people see it as, okay, well, you know, a dandelion may be a weed, but it's still pretty. People need to just stop being so raw about everything. I mean, take a minute, look at things, view things as they really are, not how they look on the outside at a first glance.
Words of inspiration that have an art director excited.
Seeing their self-esteem boosted and then seeing how proud and their self-confidence I think has really made me feel good today that this project is in existence.
Brandon Fonda, ATV News.
Art in Transit program is in its 4th year at Cache County School District and plans to continue publishing students' art on CVTD buses.
Some call him the Forever Aggie. Some call him the Pope, but most know him as Captain Aggie. We sat down with him to hear his story.
We gotta get this point!
This is Andy Pedersen, known to students and fans as Captain Aggie. For 25 years, he's been known as Captain Aggie, but his love for USU sports started 45 years ago when he first came to Utah State as a student. He's been to game after game since then, and he's got all the tickets to prove it. But USU is the only team he'll cheer for.
I'm not a sports fanatic. If there's not an Aggie playing or it's not an Aggie team, I don't want to watch it.
Over the years, he's had the chance to watch and cheer on some of Utah State's greatest athletes and coaches, such as Larry Eustace, Bob Boyd, Chuck Bell, and others.
We had, in those first 2 years, Marvin Roberts, Nate Williams, Jeff Tebbs, great basketball players that went 8th in the country.
He knows current players too, like basketball player Sean Harris, as well as others. Andy says it's important for him to get to know each player and do all he can to encourage the teams, no matter what.
Last year, everybody I think had given up on the team. We went down and beat New Mexico. I met him at the airport at 3 o'clock that morning with a sign that says, "I believe in you." And I'd carried that sign for the previous 5 games after Keaton had got hurt. And those kids remember that. Aggie! Aggie! Aggie!
Andy said the student athletes are very kind to him, so he likes to support them as much as he can. Whether it's at the seats at Romney Stadium, or in the seats of the Spectrum, or at the bleachers of the Wayne Esty Center, Captain Aggie never misses a game.
He comes to the volleyball games, he goes to the soccer games, he goes to the basketball games. I see him everywhere. Football, he's always around.
And he wouldn't be Captain Aggie without his hat and his cape. Even his wheelchair is decked out with Aggie gear. He even dances and plays around with Big Blue and the cheer squad at games.
I think if we could call him a squad member, we would. He definitely helps the students get pumped, which that's our job, so he does it for us. It's totally great.
But Andy has another love besides the Aggies. Trains. He's been collecting trains for 55 years. His dad bought him a couple when he was little, and he's been hooked ever since. He takes broken trains in pieces, fixes them up, and gets them running again. He said his Aggies and his trains are what keep him going since he was diagnosed with Parkinson's 16 years ago.
Parkinson's disease, a lot of people become shut-ins and never leave. Those people sit in their houses and they die within 5 or 6 years.
But that's not how Andy wants to do it. Instead, he's writing a book. It's poems and stories about the people he's met whom he'll never forget. To know more about Andy, you can follow him on his Twitter handle at CaptainAggie1.
You know what a service dog is, but have you heard of a companion animal? Our Ileana Barunda tells you how man's best friend can live with you anywhere, for free.
Lola can go almost anywhere, even Walmart. You can see that she can even ride in a basket. That's because she's a companion animal. And while she's here at Walmart, no one can tell her or her owner, Mackenzie, to leave.
She's pretty much there to make my life easier, even though she's kind of a pain in the butt sometimes.
And she has lots of toys to play with. Mackenzie has been playing with her for 3 years.
When I got her, I was in like a really bad place, and she like made everything better, and I never really knew like the laws until I decided to live in Blue Square.
You can see Lola plays here too, as long as she doesn't disturb the neighbors.
I cannot live without my dog. I've like moved numerous places to have Lola, so they were like, hey, you can make her a companion animal.
But that doesn't make her a service dog. Service dogs help those with physical disabilities, whereas companion animals help those with emotional disabilities.
We're required to accept them, but the resident does have to get a note from their doctor as well as fill out some forms that we have.
I already had a history of anxiety. My doctor was like, yeah, no problem, and she just wrote me a prescription, and it's better than taking medication.
Companion animals can be really great for the people that actually need them, and we fully support that, but there is a lot of responsibility that comes with those companion animals.
Ileana Barunda?
Drip it!
ATV News.
Blue Square has been in Logan since 2012, but they said this is the first year people have lived there with their companion animals.
October normally brings fall weather, Halloween, and pumpkins. But this month, it could also bring a loving new member into your family. It's Adopt a Shelter Dog Month. At the Cache Valley Humane Society, they have around 40 dogs that are ready for adoption. The basic adoption fee is $100 for all dogs, plus the cost to get them spayed and neutered. However, this month, with a Valpak coupon, all dogs are $150, including the surgery, vaccinations, and microchip.
But I mean, some of them are the best dogs. I mean, people, I mean, they're just good dogs. Like, they behave well. They're just as good as purebreds. Again, we have purebreds here, and I mean, they need a home.
The dogs are always being handled and trained. Staff and volunteers take the dogs out to run and play multiple times a day. Between 90 and 95% of animals that are brought into the clinic are adopted out to loving families. The Humane Society is always looking for volunteers. If you are interested, you can visit the shelter or call 435-792-3920.
Up next, Brandon Fonda will have your Cache Valley forecast.
The current temperature in Logan is 58 degrees.
Listen now, can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now, can you feel the sun?
Oh, look, a redhead. Staring contest. You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
They were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Welcome back. Well, what started as a pretty chilly morning has now turned into quite a nice afternoon. This is a shot of Cache Valley here. You see the beautiful colors, the mountains there, and the clear skies. And it's going to stay that way for a couple more days, and we're actually going to keep this nice weather for the next few weeks, or excuse me, days. Let's take a look at the national radar. Over here, you see we have a storm in Oregon and Washington. That's going to continue moving north, but they're going to get a lot of rain there. We also have a couple storms on the East Coast and in Florida. But so far, nothing here in Utah. It is clear skies. Let's take a closer look at home. Along the I-15 corridor, we have no rain. It's going to be partly cloudy, and this has been a record so far in the month of October. We have 0.01 inches of rain, and that's the least amount of rain since 1952 when we had 0 inches of rain. So we kind of need the precipitation here. Let's go over to our 7-day forecast. Wednesday, we've got a high of 62, low of 38. Thursday, it's going to warm back up for you, a high of 70. Friday, we bump up to 72, and Saturday, 75 degrees, just 5 degrees off of 80. It's going to warm up real good, especially for the Utah football game that afternoon. Sunday, though, it's going to drop significantly, 52 degrees, almost a 20-degree drop right in one day. We also have a 60% chance of precipitation. Monday, a high of 51, and it's still going to stay in those 50s throughout the beginning of next week. So enjoy the hot weather while you can, warm weather, but it's going to drop down significantly. And that's about it. That's about all we have for weather. I'm sure there will be more weather next week. I can promise you that. But for right now, let's toss it over to Aaron with sports.
All right, thanks, Brandon. That weather sure looks good. I'm excited for that next couple of days. Well, coming up, another key injury for the Aggies. We'll show you how well they responded. And after a struggle on the road, we'll show you if the volleyball team got back to their blocking ways.
You sure you don't want some? It's chamomile. Listen, you are extremely terrifying. Just the scariest undead subhuman thing on TV, and I really mean that. But I am worried that you could give my kids nightmares if they see you, so I'm gonna have to block you. So that's it. Oh, and tell the zombies they're blocked too. You sure you don't want some? It's chamomile. Listen, you are extremely terrifying. Just the scariest undead subhuman thing on TV, and I really mean that. But I am worried that you could give my kids nightmares if they see you, so I'm gonna have to block you. So that's it. Oh, and tell the zombies they're blocked too.
In the air to center, well hit. Kane back over his head and gone.
That was the 2-run shot in the first by Hunter Pence. And that would have been enough to give the Giants the win as the Royals fall to the Giants 7-1 in Game 1 of the World Series. Game 2 is tonight. The USU football team traveled to Colorado State last week as they look to improve to 2-0 in Mountain West Conference play. The Colorado State didn't waste any time as quarterback Garrett Grayson hit Rashard Higgins on the first play from scrimmage. You can see right here, he scampers 69 yards before the Aggies are able to push him out of bounds about the 5-yard line. That would set up this touchdown by D. Hart, which would give Colorado the early lead. But USU would answer with this 59-yard run from Joe Hill. That would tie things up, and it would stay that way as we look at the end of the game here. Tied 13-13 with just over 20 seconds left. This deep bomb sets them up for the game-winning field goal. Let's have a listen. All right. Well, unfortunately, we missed it there, but the kick went through. Obviously, Colorado State wins the game, but that's not all we lost. Daryl Garrettson went down with a wrist injury. He's scheduled to have surgery, so the Aggies on Saturday are going to have to do without him as they face the Rebels at 2 o'clock. All right, coming off a 3-1 loss at Boise State, the USU volleyball team played host to Fresno State on Thursday night. The Aggies have been known for their blocking ability all year long, and Thursday was no exception. Their blocking led to a quick start as USU won the first set 25-9. True to form, the Aggies recorded 16 blocks throughout the match, while Fresno State mustered a whopping 0. That's right, not a single block the entire match. USU went on to easily win it 3-0.
We're a good blocking team. It's kind of how we are. And I thought we did a really nice job offensively. We're trying to continue to develop that identity just a little bit. So it was kind of nice to have both components working together.
The Aggies go on the road this weekend as they take on Wyoming and number 6 Colorado State, who is yet to lose in conference play. All right, so you're depressed because of the loss to Colorado State. I don't blame you. So we here decided to put together a little pick-me-up, and so let's have a look. These we've put together are the top plays from the past month. Take a look.
Come with me now. Come with me now.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all...
All right, there you have it, guys. Hopefully that will boost your spirits enough until the Aggies can take the field once again on Saturday. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Aaron.
Up next, warm breakfast coming right up, where you can find that buttermilk syrup.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all living united to ensure the academic success of millions of kids in our communities all the way to graduation day. But that won't happen without you. So take the pledge at unitedway.org. Make a difference in the life of a child. Suit up like your favorite NFL players and become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor with United Way.
Today, 1 out of every 4 American kids is Hispanic.
That means many of the future doctors who will care for us.
Today, 1 out of every 4 American kids is Hispanic.
That means many of the future doctors who will care for us. The engineers who will build our cities, the scientists.
Welcome
and
back.
entrepreneurs
You don't have
of
to
our
look
country
far for
can be
breakfast. A USU student is making it up for you next to campus and making enough dough to pay for his rent. Spencer calls his business.
I had a bunch of kids tell me that they didn't think they could start a business, and I said, I bet I could start something for under $100.
Here he's preparing batter for Belgian waffles that he sells every week.
In a typical Belgian waffle, we'll actually have 4 different types of sugar. We put them all together, mix that with the liquid ingredients, add in all the flour, and then we hand mix it, and then later we actually mix it in an industrial mixing machine to kind of get it into a finer consistency. We take it from there and let it rise all night long for about 12 hours and let it turn into a fully dough raised batter.
Spencer also washes his hands multiple times and says he makes everything in a safe environment.
I have a food handler's permit, so just making sure that we stay on top of those things.
Here's where he sets up shop, complete with a handmade sign.
Shops down in Salt Lake or other major cities are charging $8 or $9 for these types of gourmet waffles that we're offering. We fry them up right there and cook them for them right on the spot.
Jesse Bagley says he comes here often.
I got the Nutella and some of the buttermilk syrup with some whipped cream there.
You can pay with a card using the Square app on Spencer's phone and sign right on the screen. And if you don't have your card to pay with the Square machine, you can just pay with cash and place it in the mug. The cheapest waffle goes for $4 and the most expensive goes for $5.50 if you add Nutella and fruit.
You got like your regular traditional waffle, which is good. These just take it a whole nother level.
Ileana Barunda.
It's delicious.
ATV News.
Spencer calls his business Waffle Me and sets up shop every weekday morning across from the Hyperfield on 800 East.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of ATV News.
Tune in next week for Cash Rendezvous